Hello everyone and welcome. Memories have a very special place in storytelling and interpretation because they are by nature individual, which means that they are subjective and therefore biased. And they can be very difficult to work with sometimes in interpretation and storytelling, but I thought it was worth having a look at. The thing about memories as well to remember is that they are usually very emotional, and that's what makes them difficult to work with. There's a reason why a certain event or person, situation has become a memory. It's because you have linked it to an emotion, for good and bad. And once a memory is linked to a specific emotion in your mind and gets stored in your mind, it's almost impossible to change the perception of that memory, even if you are later on in life presented with facts or with certain types of accuracy that may differ from what you remember from your memory. So it's an incredibly difficult mindset sometimes to work with when it comes to interpretation and storytelling, but there are a few things that are really good to keep in mind, and that also makes it very intriguing to work with visitors' memories. As always, if you like the content of these videos, please like them, subscribe to the channel and add your comments below. First of all, I think it's worth just remembering that memories are personal. They are therefore subjective and biased. They are also often very emotional, for good and bad. Usually they have become memories because you have attached a specific emotion to this event that happened. Even if it might have happened a long, long time ago, when you were a child even, you still sometimes remember things in detail because you felt a certain way when it happened or when thinking about it. It's also worth remembering that memories are subjective, biased, and therefore they are not necessarily the truth or facts. They are an event such as you remember it, that happened in a way that you remember it, and you have stored certain bits of information about that memory now in your mind. But that doesn't mean necessarily that that was exactly what happened or how it happened. If we think about ways of working with memories in interpretation and storytelling, I think first of all, acknowledge them. Acknowledge the fact that they exist, and sometimes you have to do so in a very sensitive way, because sometimes visitors will come with a very specific detailed memory of your place, for example, or of a certain exhibition or an object or a room or a certain place within your heritage site, for example, and they remember something that once was, and what they remember might indeed be correct, but for some reasons a room, a place, an object might have been moved or changed somehow, so it doesn't any longer correspond with the memory they have. We all know the visitors that come with this kind of, oh, when I was a child I remember how we could walk in here and be in this courtyard or be in this room, and now we cannot anymore. Why has that changed? And there will be some memories that are very strong and also a little bit critical, because something was once possible and it might not be anymore, sometimes for obvious reasons, and in that case it would be easy to explain to a visitor that, sorry, you can't walk in here anymore because we need to think about the sensitivity of the place or the wear and tear of the old building, etc., etc. So sometimes it's quite easy to explain to a visitor, but acknowledge the fact that there might be quite sensitive memories sometimes attached to a place or to something that might have happened in this place, an activity, for example. Sometimes challenge them when, of course, the situation is right for it, because sometimes visitors may also come with memories of something they might have read about in terms of historical knowledge, and they might be very sort of determined that this happened in this particular way that I have read about or seen on TV or whatever it might be. And if it's not accurate, or if it might indeed not have happened exactly in the way they describe it, sometimes it can actually be very intriguing to challenge them a little bit and to show them some of the historical facts, objects, and so on, sources that you might have in your place. Obviously, this requires that your front staff or that you have quite a good idea about when you can challenge visitors and how this can be done, because obviously you don't want to put visitors off anything, but it can sometimes be a really good way into some very productive and interesting discussions with visitors to challenge their perception or their memory a little bit. Relate memories to the current situation or to the relevant stories. Again, sometimes visitors come with memories that may fundamentally be correct, but there may be details that they remember in the wrong way or they got wrong or something like that. So relate the memories to a current situation or to the relevant story. If they come with a certain knowledge about an object or about a certain story that you interpret in your place, or perhaps there is a current situation, an event that might have brought them to you, relate their memories to these situations or to the relevant stories. That can actually create some really good discussion, an interesting discussion, and also spark further curiosities in visitors as well. Collect memories when they have a relevance to what you're doing. Now, I have an example here of that. It's from the National Maritime Museum in London. In connection with their now permanent galleries, they did this maritime memory machine that actually had a very specific place in the exhibition later on. And it was a great fun challenge where the memory machine was driving around the entire country collecting memories of the sea or of maritime history. So people's personal memories of the sea, which could of course be about anything really, depending on how much time you might have spent with the sea or at the seaside. And these memories got a very lovely spot actually in an exhibition called Sea Things at the National Maritime Museum, in a little sort of touchscreen display where visitors could add their memory of the sea in the actual gallery, in the exhibition, but also could read about other visitors or people's stories and their memories of the sea. And again, this is fully acknowledging that memories are personal, they are subjective, they can be biased, but this is very obviously a personal collection, you might say, of memories of the sea. So a way of including visitors as well in your storytelling is actually asking them for their personal memories and make them part of your storytelling, make them part of your exhibition or your gallery, and collect them and let visitors have a voice in this way as well as part of your interpretation and your gallery and exhibition project. So that's a really fun way of doing it. This is of course also a brilliant way of including memories in your interpretation and let them be part of your work. Fully acknowledging again that they are personal and they are subjective, but memories have a significance when it comes to storytelling as well. And I think sometimes that's worth remembering, especially when we work, as we do in museums and heritage sites, we work so much with historical accuracy, and we really try to be historically accurate all the time and look at the historical facts all the time, and we really want to match the historical facts all the time whenever we can, and sometimes it's just impossible to do so because you have layers of added history and memories added throughout time, and a lot of this will be built up by memories of historical people as well, who might have been writing about your historical period or your collection and so on, and acknowledging the fact that that exists by including memories of today is actually a lovely way of working with memories as well. Memories are complex in terms of storytelling and interpretation, but they can provide some really great discussion. They can provide a great insight and curiosity into a subject, into a collection, and they can be really inclusive and a way of providing visitors with a voice as well in your interpretation and in your storytelling. Do you have some really good examples of how you have worked with memories before, how you have used it in your interpretation and so on? It would be really, really lovely to hear about some examples around this.